I know y'all remember this song.
I do. He's a baby.
Yeah, don't even do that.
He's a baby, Kyanni.
Everybody remember this song. That takes me back to
Definitely.
high school. That's one of those old songs that is perfect for tonight. Welcome everybody to Massage Table Talk. I am Kyanni the Kneader, your body's favorite massage therapist. And tonight I have with me Coach D and Coach Ben. They are going to help me talk about this topic called the touch factor. Coach D and Coach Ben, if you have not seen their content on Instagram, talk a lot about relationships from the male and female perspective. And Coach D, I know her as Deanna. We go way back. And she also talks a lot about self-love. So I figure two perfect people to help discuss from a relationship perspective, a male-female perspective. It's not often that we get a chance to have the male perspective in talking about a topic like this. But how important touch is to the health of our relationship. So thank you, Coach D and Coach Ben, for joining me for this broadcast this evening. Just a quick housekeeping thing. Please, if you have any comments, things that maybe a question, something you want to add during this live, go ahead and pop it in the comments, depending on what platform that you're on. And we will do our best to touch on them live. If not, we will follow up. We'll post a reply to it. Please feel free to join in the conversation. So, how are you guys tonight?
Excellent. Happy to be here. It's a great
so
topic.
I just want to jump right on in and talk about touch. It is my favorite subject. It is what I do for, I would say what I do for a living, but I'm going to say I do it for a loving because I love what I do. And I love to touch people. I love to heal people, and touch is my jam. But also touching my clients, and I do interact with a lot of couples, husband, wives that come see me on my table. I noticed felt there's a disconnect. So they are the ones that really help me to talk more about touch in relationships and the importance of touch in relationships. Touch is a love language. So I want to ask you too, how important do you feel the 5 love languages are in relationships?
Okay. I think they're crucial, and it's interesting because I made a video recently about that, even just knowing the 5 love languages for your own children. So for a relationship with a man and a woman or whomever is together, it is so important because touch, any type of touch, which I'm sure you'll get into the different types of touch. One thing about me, I like to hug people. I like to touch people because I think that it's healing and you never know what people are going through. So I think knowing your partner's love language is super critical to having a long lasting relationship. And I don't think a lot of people ask. Like I know people that are dating and they get together and they're just, they like each other. They're good looking and they're attracted to each other, and then they're sleeping together. And then now they're like waking up going, wait, who are you? Like what, and now you're mad because this person isn't doing this or this or this for you. But did anyone ever ask, how do you perceive love? What's your love language?
No, I 100% agree. I think it's very important to know what someone's love language is, because you could think that you're giving that person what they need, and that they could not be getting what they need out of a relationship because you're loving them the way that you think is good for them. So I think it's very important to identify what that love language is so that you can give your partner or the person that you're with what they need in a relationship.
So if viewers are listening in and you are not familiar with the 5 love languages they are, one is physical touch, another one is gifts, another one is words of affirmation, then there is acts of service, and then the 5th one is quality time. And they're not in any, that's just in a random order. And you can take a love language quiz, and what that basically does, it ranks those 5 love languages in a percentage order. And the highest one, the top one, is ranked as the love language that you like to receive most. So how you want someone to express their love to you. And it depends on what it is, but you could have the top 3 could be very close to one another. So all that means is that you just love to be expressed in multiple ways. But physical touch is in there somewhere, is in the mix somewhere. And what I have found, or my experience, is that normally physical touch is more higher at the top of the list for men than it is for women. And there is nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. It's just that we have to learn how to speak one another's language a little more. So in what I do, I perform physical touch. That doesn't necessarily equate to someone's love language. It means that they, like to be touched, for whatever reason. And when I talk about physical touch in my workshops and when I work with couples, I normally clump physical touch. Now, when I'm talking about physical touch, I'm not talking about sex at all.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that, men?
I'm not talking about sex. And I do have a question for you all about that, a little bit later. But when I'm thinking about physical touch, I'm thinking about social touch. And social touch is that touch that you share with kind of anyone, like, your child, stranger, handshakes, hugs, fist bumps. So that's kind of that social touch. Yes. Therapeutic touch. So therapeutic touch is more like what I do, like massage. So, in relationships, it could be, your partner's having a headache. So you give them a scalp massage, or, they may just be sitting there decompressing for the day, and you may rub their shoulders or their feet, something that's more calming and relaxing. Then there's intimate touch, and that's a touch that many of us confuse intimacy and sex. And then, of course, sensual touch, and that kind of equates to like foreplay, but you don't always have to go there with sensual touch. Those are kind of like the 4 types of physical touch that's not sex, that I really like to talk to clients or other folks, or during workshops or what have you. Are there of those 4 forms of touch, or let me reframe it like this: do you feel that those 4 forms of touch are important in relationships?
I think it's important to know which one your partner likes. I mean, I can say for me, I love therapeutic touch. You know me, I love a good massage. So, so if my man,
we should all.
Yeah, like if you can massage me, I'm good. I'm there. But I also want to know that you can just give me a massage and let me go to sleep, because to me, that's you saying, hey, I love you enough to I want to make you feel good and you can go to sleep. Because I think, like you said, it's top tier for men for physical touch, right? But women, it's not. But I think it's only because they feel like it's something else is expected if there's physical touch, when sometimes they just want to relax, So, but I think that it is important to know which form of touch, for sure.
So someone had a comment. So the 4 types of touches are social touch, which are like hugs and kisses, handshakes. Then there is therapeutic touch, so massage to provide relief. There's intimate touch. And when I say intimate touch, something as simple as just undressing your partner is intimate touch. Or dressing your partner is intimate touch, or just simply sitting there, just holding one another, cuddling, intimate touch. And then there's sensual touch, and that kind of runs the whole kind of, hot and heavy, how hot and heavy you want to get with the sensual touch. But you can, sensual touch is probably like what we used to do when we were teenagers, the dry hump, you don't have to go nowhere, but it gets you excited type of thing. But sensual can be I'm a jokester though. But funny. Sensual touch doesn't even have to involve taking clothes off. You know what I mean? The saying, I undressed you with my eyes.
Yeah. For me personally, essential touch doesn't involve sex. It could be, and I actually made a video about how a woman can influence a man based on soft tone of voice and simply touching his head, back, neck, and shoulders. That for me is just, it makes you feel, confident. It makes you feel, loved. So like, I don't necessarily have to have sex, just, rubbing on the shoulders or on the back of the neck. Is just like, it makes you feel like a king. And I think a lot of men will probably agree with that as well.
Where are the men on here? I want to hear. Would y'all agree? Announce yourself. Okay.
Right.
I love that about Ben. Yeah, that he feels like he can do that. But I've been in relationships where as soon as I touch a person, they're like, "Oh, what's up?" And it's just like, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me just sit here for a minute or cuddle with me for a minute. Yeah. But touch is so extremely important because I think everyone really actually craves it. There are some people that will say, I don't like to be touched. Okay. I don't know that I necessarily believe that. I think that they just haven't been touched in the right way.
Right. So as far as social touch, I think that's important even in a relationship. So in a formal relationship, we have more of a contract or commitment that before we left out of the house every morning, we would give each other a kiss because we never knew if we were going to come back home and see one another. But that was like a communication for us. And by that, because we're creatures of habit, all humans are creatures of habit, that became our habit. So when the check engine light came on when one of us didn't do it. So it was like, just as much as touch is a form of communication, the lack of touch is also a form of communication. So when one of us didn't do that, or it became like repeatedly not happening, that check engine that came off to say, okay, what's going on here? Did I do something? Am I missing something? Like, what happened? And so even that small social gesture of just kissing or hugging really does speak volumes. And especially, like you said, there's some people who have different touch tolerance. They may not like all the feely and this and that, but a forehead kiss or a nice, strong, secure hug does the trick. For them. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I agree with you as far as like when something changes up. I literally just had this conversation about how I know for me, I think consistency should be the 6th love language, but that's just me. But I think that when, something changes, it can trigger a person like, oh, whoa, hold on. What's going on? Like you said, it's like the check engine light. What's happening? Because yes, you're so used to someone doing something every single day. So obviously when they decide, I don't want to do this today, something's going on. So,
Right.
yeah, I think that the lack thereof is extremely important to pay attention to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
I agree 100%. 100%.
We also use it as punishment sometimes, and I think that's where that's when it becomes a problem. You know, we use it, we withdraw it, or we take it away because we're angry instead of just talking about it. And that's where relationships, that's where that separation starts, when we start using it more as punishment and to get back at somebody, especially if we know that that's
what they like, and that's what
right.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people do that, and I'll tell you, the moment you decide to start punishing your partner and taking something away, that's the moment everything's about to start to go downhill. And I always encourage all my clients to be authentic and say how you feel, and sit down with love and talk to your partner, because that could be the difference between you guys staying together and breaking up, really. Because when you keep holding things in, or you're trying to punish someone or hurt someone, that's not you showing love in a relationship. But when you could literally sit down and hold that person's hand and say, look, I'm having a hard time right now. I'm having a hard time right now. This is what I'm going through. It's not you, or maybe it is them, but at least be authentic, because what do you have to lose by telling your truth?
And I want to piggyback on that. It's not, a lot of people say the saying that communication is key. It's actually comprehension, because, if a person is telling you how they feel and you're not comprehending what it is that they're telling you, or understanding what it is that they're telling you, they're just talking for no reason. So I think you need to really comprehend, and the way that you can do that is by repeating in a different form what that person just said to you, to make sure that that person is understood.
But going back to the whole touch part too, I have found when I've had to have sensitive conversations, or conversations where I thought may upset the other person, I literally ask them if we can sit down for a minute, and I'll just be like, let me let me hold your hand for a minute.
Right.
I feel like that
because it immediately
it
de-escalates the situation. It relaxes a person to where they can just go, oh, okay, this person's not mad at me.
Right. Exactly.
They're just they just want to talk. So touch is very important.
Yeah. Touch.
That's a concept that I talk about called poke the bear. So the saying poke the bear is like, don't touch the bear, you're going to anger the bear. But when you want to help someone calm or de-escalate, you do want to poke them. That touch, I mean, I see that every day on my table. I have people that come in and they're all, whether it's after work or they're rushing. But as soon as you therapeutically poke them or touch them, it de-escalates. We know touch, even a 20-second hug, it decreases your heart rate. It decreases blood pressure. It increases blood flow. So those moments of touch really go a long way to mental health, from physical health. Why wouldn't we want to do this more for one another in relationships? We are all going through things, and we're going through things together. So why wouldn't you want to help your partner heal? Trauma is big. Trauma in touch is big, especially, and I'm only going to speak because I'm a woman, for women. So sometimes, jump right into that sexual kind of touch, or, those innuendos kind of sometimes doesn't make you feel safe.
Right.
So
this person not see what I'm going through. All they care about is wanting to jump my bones. And honestly, like, a relationship ended for me because I felt that way. I was like, he has no clue what's going on with me. He doesn't even care. All he wants to do is just like go to the bedroom. And I was done. It just turned me off. But I think that when you know how to touch someone in a loving way, and you're always coming to them in a place of love, whether it's a tough topic or not, when you touch someone and you are calm and you are coming from a place of love, it will de-escalate whatever is going on at first, you know. And I always say too, if I feel like I gotta win, if I gotta beat you, if I gotta, you know, take something from you and that makes me feel good or something, that's not me winning, and that everybody's losing. That's not a you know, a good, healthy relationship. So touch is extremely important in healthy relationships. It really is. And I don't know if I could say it in an unhealthy relationship, but sometimes there can be a partner that understands how to touch the other one when something's not going right. For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
There was something that I read that I found, and let me know if you agree with this or not. It says, if couples are not regularly lovingly touched, women become depressed and lose interest in sex, while men often become more aggressive and lose interest in touches that are not sexual. This is a recipe for disharmony in a relationship.
No, that makes sense.
It does make sense. And I agree. I also think men become aggressive and just go outside. And I'm not just saying men, because I know women do that as well, y'all. So don't mess up my words. But I think that men will go outside and have a less emotional attachment because they're not getting what they need from home.
Right.
Yeah, but they're also, I feel like people aren't always trying to understand the other person. They get mad, like you said, it's like they take something away, or then they're just like, oh, well, they're not treating me the way that I want, so I'm just gonna cut it all off. When if more people would put their phones down, put your cell phone down, please, like get off of social media and go sit with your partner and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And find out what's going on, and touch their arm, touch, like he said, he likes his neck to be touched and everything. I'm sorry, to your girlfriend, I'm sorry, I'm just doing this for the show. But I'm just saying, like, you know, this would probably calm him if he's having a moment instead of me, you know, doing this all day. Talk to your partner, touch them.
I think we have a misconception. As women, I think we have a misconception that men are always hardwired for sex, that they do not appreciate the rubs, you know, the head rubs, the temple rubs, the back rubs. You know, I think that men need love too. Men like that stuff too. It's just that we're always in our head that they just want to hit it and quit it. And that's not always true. What do you think about that?
But I think we should also be, from a woman's standpoint, I am so big on just saying what I need and want, because again, I'll always say to myself, well, what do I have to lose? If he walks away from me saying what I need, then that wasn't my person, right? So if I can say to you, hey, I really just would love a neck rub, because I've just had a really rough day and I just want to go to sleep. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It doesn't mean I don't want to be with you. It's just right now, I'm not in that mindset. So it's not going to be what you need it to be. So if you could just do that for me, I would really appreciate it. And I think that if you can say that to someone, and they're going to hear you. Like, what man is going to be like, no?
That goes back to their comprehension.
I think that's the problem. I'm not even going to make a generalized statement, but a lot of men don't really understand women. And we talked about this on our channel as well. You know, how to be a 3% man. Only 3% of men really understand the psychology of women. So I get what she's saying in terms of, you know, being able to speak to her partner and say she needs this. But a lot of women they don't want to have to groom a man. They want him to automatically know. So they're not going to really verbalize what it is that they need in the relationship.
We need a men's class.
Yes, our men, you got that men's class coming.
It's coming. The culture is coming.
Believe me.
So they don't really understand. And men do just like to feel that nurturing, care, loving touch from women. You know, it just makes a world of a difference. And it just makes him feel valued and appreciated. So,
but also being okay with when your partner says, you know, if one of the partners wants to have sex and the other one doesn't, it should be okay to just be like, you know what, babe, I love you so much. It's just like today was just a tough day. It really has nothing to do with you. You know, can you just give me tonight or whatever? And if that partner would really just be like, of course, no problem. Like most likely the other person's gonna turn around and be like, you know, I want to give you some now because you're listening to me and you're understanding me instead of just trying to jump all over me, you know. So I mean,
or you never know, you know, he listens and then he still rubs you the right way. And you like, oh, okay, I changed my mind. I changed my mind. I think I'm ready right now.
Man, are you listening? Are you listening? Yes. Put the phone down. Yes, Will. Put the phone down. Women, like what Ben said, stop expecting a man to understand your brain. Like he does not know what you're thinking most of the time. He has no clue. And if most women are going to hate me by the time I'm done, I say this all the time because I really am. I feel badly for men sometimes because they've been taught to be hard, be tough, don't cry, don't be sensitive, don't do all this stuff. And then we tell them to be in a relationship with a woman and love her. They have no idea what to do. And so they're not going to understand everything that you're thinking. It doesn't mean they don't love you because he doesn't know what just went through your head. Right. You have to be able to say, hey, I need you to touch me like this. I need you to, you know, just rub my neck tonight. Can you just hold my hand? Can you just cuddle with me tonight? Just say what you need. It's like,
and that's why it's important too for couples, especially if they have children, to show these positive forms of touch. You know, display mommy and daddy kissing and hugging. You know, because kids need to see that that's okay in relationships. That's what you do in healthy relationships. So if you don't get to see it, you know, if you're raised by a single mom and you know she's always worried about having a man around you because it's not her person or may not be her person, you know, as a young girl or a young boy, you don't get to see.
They don't get to see
that. You don't get to emulate that. You don't get to replicate that and know that this is how a man and woman should interact in a healthy relationship.
And that's one of the things. My kids have actually never seen it with me because they've never seen another man around me. So I kind of give myself a hard time about that sometimes, but I'm also like, well, when it's the right time, they will see it, you know. But you're right. Like I was raised by my grandmother who just took care of everybody and she took care of all the men in the family and everything. So I thought that was normal growing up, you know. And it is important, I think, to show love in front of children. I mean, but I have a lot of friends, so I'm always hugging on my friends and always loving on my friends. So even sometimes my kids are like, ew, you know, and I'm like, ew, it's love. You know? Right. You do have to show them for sure so that they can grow up and be okay with touching someone and be okay with
you know, this is normal. This is what we should do. Okay. Will says, Ben, that's real talk. Many men don't know and are afraid to ask. Most of the time, you ask a woman to help you understand her, she will break out the PowerPoint and let you know.
And so like I just recently made a video and I was saying that, you know, men should become knowledgeable on certain topics and subjects, and that includes relationships, because if you're going to be dealing with women, then you need to understand women. I would highly recommend all men to get the book How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne. It is the man's Bible to understand a woman, and even women actually read this book to understand themselves.
Because when I first met Ben and we were talking about everything and we just met and he was like, I don't need to have sex all the time. Like, that's not my thing. I don't need that. I need to like connect with somebody. And then he started telling me about this 3% man. I was like, oh, you need to teach a class. That's why we were laughing when Blue Bunny said that. Cause I'm like, yeah.
I mean, because ultimately, if you understand these things, it's going to build up the tension for both parties to make the woman want to ultimately touch you more, because you're doing things that, you know, mentally stimulate her. That's the word. Yeah.
Right.
So,
and I think too, that's why we as women sometimes shouldn't always jump to that conclusion that that's all that a man wants. Because
I agree. That's not all they want.
Right. We totally miss out on them as a person because we have this preconceived notion that he just want to get in them sheets or he just want to get the drawers, and that may not be it. First of all, we have the power to determine whether he gets some or not. So we need to own that, first of all.
That part.
Hold on. Repeat that again.
Look, that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show. We're not even gonna do that. We're not even gonna do that.
we ain't gonna go there. We gonna go. I mean, that's
next time. That's another show.
We have to realize as a look. I didn't got myself all off track about what I was about to say. But I think sometimes we do a disservice to ourselves in getting to know a man if we always think that sex always has to be a part of the equation. And it doesn't. And you can interact with them. And then we start bringing our own past experiences and trauma, to that relationship. So sometimes it's like you need to heal first.
Listen, that's what I preach all day, because I always say that when you have two unhealed people and you say, all right, now go ahead and get married and have a healthy relationship.
Hey, Sean.
Nobody knows what they're talking. Nobody knows how to do that because we haven't healed ourselves individually. And it's okay to say, you know what, I need to take time for myself. I need to figure out who I am. I need to figure out what I like. And then you will attract the right person. But when you're forcing things, and now you're forcing this person, and you're wondering why they don't want to have sex with you, and you're wondering why they don't kiss you goodbye, and they're wondering why, because maybe you're not in the right mindset, And again, I think that's a whole nother show too, Kyanni, honestly.
Right. And if you have that 3% man, he can help you heal.
Right.
Even in through the progression of touching, you know what I mean? And getting comfortable with touch again. I think it's possible to still have a relationship where healthy touch is involved. Healthy, HEAL, heal. Where healthy touch is involved, and you can still heal those past traumas with the current person that you were with. But just like Ben said, it all has to go back with the comprehension part of communication. You can communicate all you want, but if you don't take the time to understand one another and what each other needs, because your touch tolerance can be, like this, but when you start listening to each other, it can start moving closer and closer, to one another. So touch doesn't become a chore; it becomes a habit. You want to be close to them,
Oh, I like that. It doesn't become a chore, it becomes a habit. I love that.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's why I don't think, and maybe you may disagree or others may disagree. I don't think that sex alone can sustain a healthy relationship.
No way. It can't.
Yeah.
There's no way. You have to have a connection. You have to be healthy. You have to be okay with yourself. You have to be happy already with yourself. And there's no way in the world, there is no dude on this planet. I'm going to just go ahead and tell y'all right now, there is no dude on this planet that could keep me happy just from sex. No way. No.
Yeah.
It's not possible. I agree with you totally. Yes, Will, I do preach that. Thank you. And yes, to Sean, find yourself first.
Like the video I just made, maybe last week, it's for women, it's more so about the mental stimulation. Once you get the mind, everything else pretty much follows. Yeah.
Right. You touch me right, put some words of affirmation in there, some quality time. That is a recipe for something good.
Yep. And I came home.
Learn how to use all the languages.
Right. I came home and you did a load of laundry and I didn't have to do it. Oh, all right. Then we have extra time.
Right.
Hello.
Let's sit down on the couch. You rub my feet, do some cuddling. No. It becomes easy. You know what I mean? Like love is work, but with the right person, it's easy.
I was gonna say, I don't even know how much work it is. I think when you're with the right person, it is just very easy. And what we've been told that it's hard. That you got to do all this stuff. I don't believe that when you're with the right person, but you're not going to be with the right person until you heal yourself first. Right. And I'm not saying we're all going to be wholesome and 100% healed. No, but at least become self-aware of your own stuff, because I literally, I had to learn that things trigger me, and I can now say that. But before I would just get pissed, and but you have to learn yourself.
And here's a tip.
You need me to come to Wakanda, Africa, and talk to Mr. Battle? I can do that. I've been out there before. I can come out there on different business this time. On different business.
And here's a tip for men. Sometimes you have to slow down to speed things up.
Hey,
just slow down. Just slow down just a little bit, right? And pace yourself, and it's going to make her more interested. It's going to intrigue her more. It's going to mentally stimulate her more. That's spontaneity, the things that gets her mind ticking to lead up, because it's a whole buildup.
And being different, just being different, because we're used to men coming at us 24 hours a day. We're used to it. So how are you different? How do you differentiate yourself? Slow down. We like that, actually. We do.
Yeah, like I said, it takes the pressure off of what we've already perceived that you want, and that may not always be, be the case. Agreed. Yeah. So last question, and we kind of touched on it. If you're with the right person, the work of love should already be easy. It shouldn't even really be work, but what type of work do you think couples and partners can do in the relationship to increase more, to bring more touch, to their lives?
Well, I'll say definitely work on yourself first, and continue to work on yourself even when you're in a relationship. Continue to work on yourself. And I think that learning, asking the love language, finding out how that person perceives love, is very critical. I would say that.
I would say learning to understand your partner better, going into the relationship to be a giver and not looking to be reciprocated. I think oftentimes people get in relationships and they're looking, what can I get, instead of solely going into the relationship to give. And if you have both parties that are, giving abundantly, then you're going to ultimately feel that this person cares about me, I care about them, and that's going to lead to, more touch.
And also respect, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you meet, I'll speak to the ladies only. If you meet a man who doesn't respect his own mother, honey, he's not going to respect you. So that's just number one. But I always say in my relationship, I would much rather have him respect me than love me, because I feel like we can love people and hurt them very easily. But when you respect someone, you do your best at all times to please them, to make them have to not hurt them. So respect is huge. If you don't have respect for your partner,
understanding that law of giving and receiving. When you give, we don't understand that when you give, you're already receiving something in that moment, because you are receiving the powerful response from the other person. You know what I mean? You're receiving, when I give massage, I'm receiving the response from the person's body right then and there. You know what I mean? So I'm getting something from it as a therapist, knowing instantly that what I'm doing is impacting this person, is beneficial, is healing. So, I may not, most people think, oh, well, you're receiving money from doing, no, that's not it. We're looking for the wrong things with the law of giving, you know, and receiving. Someone
but
also
you have
said
a gift. That's your
mindset.
gift. Your gift is touch. You know, one of your gifts
Right.
is touch, and some people really need to be touched and not in a sexual way. So, I mean, so I see Sean is saying stay away from damaged people. I'll say this, Sean, we're all damaged, but it comes down to learning how to heal yourself and get better. Right. And yes, pay attention to red flags. Pay attention to red flags. If somebody says the first moment you meet them, I got trust issues, trust that they got trust issues and be out, because
they say believe them the first time.
Believe them. It's okay to say no. It's okay to have boundaries. It's okay. I don't care how good looking the person is, how nice they are, how whatever. When someone you know has not worked on themselves, it is not going to work. It's just not.
Yeah, and like you said, a lot of people aren't even aware or conscious that they even have things. Everybody just, you know, a lot of people think that they're fine, not even realizing that they have issues that they need to work on. So you first have to become conscious that, okay, this is an issue. This is a continuous pattern that I'm having throughout my relationship or relationships with different people, and then, you know, address or find some type of resolution for that particular issue.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Someone said date each other. That is very, very important in relationships, because sometimes dating still allows us in a way to still work on each other. You know,
and I'm gonna say
Oh, are we back?
There we go. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, that was such a good point.
I'm gonna put the responsibility on men in terms as far as the dating goes, because a lot of times men court women and do things in the beginning, and then they get comfortable, and then that's when the attraction level falls. So men have to constantly be gauging the attraction level of the women that they're dating or the women that they're with, so that they can see, okay, I need to do X, Y, and Z. And that's where How to Be a 3% Man comes in to play, because you'll know what signs are showing that, okay, I noticed she's been, you know, a little bit distant. So I noticed that she hasn't been touching me as much. So because women can be very emotional. You know, they function based off of emotion.
Watch it.
He said, watch it. But
he knows. Don't even. He's starting to poke the bear over here.
But
I think
poke him back. You right next to him. Poke him.
I think men are super emotional beings. But
you can't. I have a T-shirt on under here. It says hugs and slugs, love languages. That's real talk. That's real love languages in relationships. Hugs and slugs. Hugs and slugs. Yeah. One minute you hugging, the next minute you slugging.
Men have to constantly monitor that attraction level to make sure they're doing what
she expects. I mean, you cannot come into this whining and dining me and think you're not going to whine and dine me forever.
Right.
But
the same way you got her is the same way you're going to keep her.
But it's the same for women.
And vice versa. For
women. If you're giving him all the attention and you're making him feel like the king of the Nile, you have to keep going. Men are more emotional.
Y'all can
What's
be.
That?
They can be. Yeah. They can be.
They just are, but they hide it. But they hide it because they were taught to hide it. They were conditioned to hide it. And honestly, personally, for me, I love a sensitive man. I love a man that can talk about his feelings and is aware of his feelings, and that a man that's cried in front of me. I've heard some women say, I don't want to see a man doing this, that, the other. I feel like she has issues.
I think
like not him.
This a whole nother talk show, but I think to an extent, you can't be crying and whining all the time, because then she gonna be feeling like,
but that's different. All the time is different. I don't want to be crying and whining all the time.
Simps and Simps.
Yeah.
What's the is that the term?
I think a feminine woman goes after the most masculine man, and the most masculine man is not going to be the one that's all emotional all the time.
And so I know I said that was so you touch on something, that balance of feminine and masculine energy in relationships, because there are women who spend a lot of time in that masculine energy vibration.
They do.
But I also think, and I'm just going to speak for myself, being single and independent and all this kind of stuff, I don't necessarily want to stay in that masculine energy level, but what I'm doing right now kind of requires that, and it takes that right person to totally.
Did I not say this? I just told her.
Bring me back into my feminine, and then don't realize that they may be with a very independent woman, but if they have the right tools, they can totally bring us back into our feminine.
Oh yeah, that's why I've waited as long as I have, because I can't just take my, I'm not just gonna be in a relationship with someone who does not understand me or who doesn't understand that I do want to be a baby. I am a baby, but I can't show that most of the time because I have to be hardcore. I have to take care of everything. I have to take care of the kids. I have to take care of the house. I have to work. I have to do all this stuff. I have to, I don't have that person that's like, hey, sit down for a little bit. I got you. So but when that person comes, then I believe I will relax. He's always like, you're hard. You're that. I'm like,
we get into it because we always get into it about the leading part, and I always try to tell her, like, the leading doesn't necessarily mean the man is in front or superior over her. It's more so like a mindset and him wanting to guide the relationship, or to learn or teach and stuff like that, like Boo Boo.
Not Boo Boo. Boo Bunny. That's also can be learned behavior. Yes, it can be. But a lot of us are
messing your name up, Iris.
But like I said, only 3% men know this stuff. Mm-hmm. So they got unless we have a major turnaround and men really wanting to understand women, it's going to be like this. That's just a fact.
It's Iris. She's funny. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Yeah, I don't like the word lead. He knows I don't like that. But it's mostly because of what I've come from. It's mostly because of what I've experienced. So, but at least I'm self-aware of it, and I'm working on that. But I just think that, couples should be, I don't say 50-50. I say 100-100. And then you do whatever works for you. If a woman likes a man to just handle everything and just steer her in the right direction, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If a woman's like, no, I kind of want to be involved in it, and he's like, that's cool, great. That's what works for them. If the woman is out here steering everything and she's the one working and he's home with the kids, wonderful. I think it's whatever works for that couple. But you're not leading me nowhere. Sorry.
Is he funny? What's the definition I gave? To nurture, protect, and guide the relationship in the right direction. Okay,
I like the definition.
That's all I'm simply saying. An African battle said, "Why does a man feel like they need to lead the relationship?" Ultimately, what do women gravitate to? Leaders,
alpha male.
Leaders.
But I'm a leader.
I'm not saying you're not a leader, but you gravitate to. You're not going to.
I do gravitate to.
That's my whole point.
Leader.
That's my whole point. Mm-hmm. So don't take it as this person is over. No, that's not what we saying. Protect, nurture, and guide in the right direction, and we both can play a part.
Yeah, that I can learn from.
He said no.
Security. What do you mean by no security? I want to know what they mean by that.
Africa, elaborate.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's
want a secure man?
I think it's a one.
I
think they're saying no women want security. from the
But
men.
if you're looking for security, honey, you need to look within yourself. You need to become secure by yourself, because all this trust stuff, the way I feel is like, yes, I used to look through phones. I used to look through emails. I used to do all that crazy stuff in my 20s and 30s because I didn't trust somebody, but really I needed to just heal myself. And then I started attracting people that I didn't even have to worry about that kind of stuff with. And when you realize that there's nothing you can do to stop another person from doing what they want to do, there's absolutely nothing you can do. Let's look at Halle Berry and Nia Long and Beyonce and all these people. And we're not them in any way, shape, or form, okay? But we can't stop someone from doing what they want to do. What you have to learn how to do is how to manage it if that happens to you. If someone betrays you or hurts you, then you have to learn how to manage it and walk away, or accept it and forgive and move on, because you cannot stop another human being from doing what they want to do. You can't.
And that's why I say sex cannot be the only form of touch,
Right.
in a relationship, because we think that, I hear a lot of women is like, as long as I keep him fed and happy in the bed, he ain't gonna go nowhere. That's
Not true.
a lie. That's
Not
a
true.
misconception.
Yeah, I agree. I think if someone's aligned, I think alignment is extremely important. You really need to find someone you're in alignment with, because even if you guys get together and it's fun and it's exciting and all that stuff, and you think you're having a good time and you're going to get married and whatever, if you don't feel that deep spiritual connection with someone and that alignment and that respect and that, like, hey, we're going forward together, most likely it's not going to work. Somebody's going to be forcing something and somebody's not going to be happy. But the ultimate thing is be happy first, be joyful and at peace with yourself first, and then recognize red flags, because you will also attract people that need you, that that need to take your energy from you. So you have to be careful with that.
Right.
But and that's a huge thing with touch too. The transfer of energy. We didn't touch on that, but we could touch on that next time.
Yes. Let's wrap this thing up. Africa said we look for someone we can build with. I agree, but also when we think about building, we think about leaders. Leaders build.
That's what I was just about to say. That all the things that African Battle was saying are examples of what a leader does.
Yes. Leaders do all of this, and I think it's important. I think like you did say, Ben, we always look about who's going to be in the front versus who's this and who's that. Sometimes it can be interchangeable depending on what the moment is. You know what I mean?
Because
it doesn't always have to be.
Know women, right? Yeah, because I know men that own businesses, but the woman, she's in a maybe on behind the scenes controlling the whole operation. So
that's why I don't like the word lead, because I think that but we can get into that forever, because I think a lot of things.
This is a whole other topic.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So where can these viewers find you too? Well,
you can
share your social information.
You can find me on Instagram under Michon_317. So it's MICHON_317. And my website is DeannaMichon.com. So it's DeannaMichon.com. And you can find out more information from me there and contact me for coaching.
And you can find me on Instagram at I am Ben Williams Jr. Facebook, Williams Benjamin. DM me. All the links are there to the website. So
thank you so much, Kyanni, for having us. This was so much fun. And I hope somebody got something today that they're really going to take away, and it'll help them to live their best life in a healthy relationship.
Yes. And what's the book again, Ben? 3% Man?
How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne.
How to Be a 3. I'm gonna put that on my list because I think I need to read. I need
All
to
right,
find my.
everybody.
I need to attract my 3% man. All right. Thank you two very much. We need to do this again. Thank everybody for joining us tonight. I will see you all not next Monday. Next Monday is the Monday after Christmas. So
yeah,
we will start up again, Lotions and Potions, on Monday, January 2nd, at 8:30 p.m., where I will give you all some tips on therapeutic lotions and potions you can use during this winter season and in between visits with me. All right. Good night.
Yeah. If you want a good massage, please call Kyanni. Oh my gosh. She's the woman. You are.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the plug. Appreciate the plug. All right. Good night.
Have a good one, guys.
See ya.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that was fire.
Who's